your chair. Okay. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi.
I liked your little. No, that's okay. I liked your little pillow on your chair. It was like love or
Did
something.
you see that? Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
Is that Tanya,
Okay.
is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry.
hey. Just letting people in the waiting room. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'll leave them there for a little while longer.
Yeah, I'm just going to make a note. We're doing a poll at the end as well, so don't forget. Yeah. And then, I don't know, can you chat to me if you need to during it or?
Yeah, so in the chat function, you can privately send to people.
Okay, I'll just put you up here. So if there's any problem, just let me know.
Yeah. Oh, they shouldn't.
I've got got the door shut. My dog is outside. I can't do anything about it, but a lady's coming at 3 o'clock, so hopefully if she barks, it'll only be for a minute.
Okay, that should be fun.
I'm just going to choose to ignore it.
It's the reality of what we're doing.
Hi Louise, how you going?
My cat comes in and jumps up and cuddles.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, how is Luigi today?
How's Luigi? He's sound asleep in front of the heater.
Oh, jealous.
I'm just going to practice the screen share. Just bear with me for a sec. Just actually, so I can make sure.
We can probably have it showing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
when we admit everyone.
I'll open it.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure. Then I'll have to take it down when. Sorry, I've got Tamara. Just a sec.
Oh, sorry.
Tamara, are you okay? I'm just on the phone. Yeah, hang on.
She might be in the waiting room. Hold on, let me check.
She's just checking for it. Yeah, she's in
the
waiting
she's
room.
here.
She's going to let you in now. Yeah. Okay. I just thought I can leave it on this screen for sure, and then you'll be able to see yourself there, but I can, do you want me to stop sharing when Liz is speaking or?
No, we normally have like this up to begin with anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Sorry, hi Tamara. Sorry, I didn't see your name on the list. I didn't add you in.
That's okay. I was in a holding pattern.
Okay. Oh, and I was going to say also, that email you sent through before,
yes.
Caroline, that FYA, the new work reality, I had a quick read through it and I realised one of the girls in it, there's a girl with red hair.
Okay.
I know her. We went to high school together.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Nikki. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's probably not something like it's good to have a review of. I wouldn't probably share it directly with, like, there's a lot of stuff that's a bit, not controversial, but there's stuff that's, extra information. So it's good for you guys to see it and read it and get an insight into the bits you think are relevant to students. Yeah, but it's a really good website to follow, actually.
Yeah, it was really good.
And I noticed that they'd done some stuff for international students and their experience in particular. So I thought that was useful too. So I just sent you, I think it's a link to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good. We've got a few.
Oh, and Liz is here. Hold on, I think she's on mute. Oh, wait, hold on.
There we go.
There we go. Hey, Liz.
Hi. How many have we got registered for this afternoon, Tanya?
When I checked it this morning, it said 86.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The one thing I realised we didn't cover is an acknowledgement of country.
Yeah.
Would there be anyone who would like to do that? Or should I do it?
I'd have to find it, Liz.
I've got it here, Louise.
I know Mitun did, he had that acknowledgement of country spreadsheet in that last webinar we did.
Can I just ask, can you guys see yourselves on my screen or not? I'm just not sure.
No.
Oh, great. Okay, so it just shares.
I don't think so anyway.
Okay, so do you want me to stop sharing it at all, my screen, or not?
No, you can just keep yours up because what will happen is it goes into speaker view. So as I'm speaking, it will pop up.
Oh, great. Okay. I just want to double check you were getting on there as needed. Yeah.
Louise, do you feel confident to do the welcome to?
Of course. Not looking glamorous enough, though.
I disagree with that.
I've put on my party clothes. I'm just finding it. Or did you?
I've got it on a link for you.
Okay.
Shooting it over to you now.
Okay. So just tell me when you want me to go with that.
Sure. I'll just do the general welcome and the housekeeping, and then I'll hand over to you for the acknowledgement.
Yep, no problem.
Just means it's not my voice the whole way through. There's nothing quite like listening to yourself back.
Okay, so there's a lot. Okay, face-to-face meetings.
It's the one below that.
Yeah, but then they're from different states.
Yeah, I don't think we have to read the different states.
Okay.
Or you can just mention the...
Okay, so just that first paragraph, acknowledging the First Peoples.
And the last paragraph as well, yeah.
Okay.
So that each of these nations has faithfully cared for country for thousands of years, that paragraph. I don't know, do you do that at the beginning of all your webinars, Caroline and Tamara?
It's more if it's an external. We usually are dealing with students internally, so no.
Yeah.
If it was more of a protocol for an event type situation, we would.
Just they've got some fantastic videos now.
Yes, yeah.
Which are just beautiful. We might show one of those next week.
Wonderful.
They're quite fabulous.
That's a good resource to have on hand, actually.
It really is.
How are we going?
Sorry, I'm going to read off my phone, so it was just my phone crashing.
Where did you get your background, Louise?
Would you like me to share it with you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Well, I did it by fluke. You know how you do things and then you think, how did I do that?
All the time.
And it's before you actually log in. But I'll send you the banners. There's a couple of them. It's quite bright, isn't it?
It is. I like it.
Sort of looks like you're on a PowerPoint.
Mitten had them, Liz. So I said, where did you get them? And he said that Libby shared them, but then Libby didn't. So Mitten has shared them.
Actually, I think it's oh no, I don't know if I should be saying this, but it's under embargo until tomorrow, I think.
It is.
ACU is now in top 70 young universities.
It's embargoed until tomorrow.
I'll clip it from this recording. Sorry. Yeah, that's exciting. Go us.
How are we going with the waiting room? 32. It's good.
32. Yeah, I feel like, what do you call it? The Indian Standard Time.
Indian Stretchable Time.
Indian Stretchable Time, that was it.
IST.
Yeah. Give it about 5 more minutes and that number will double normally. So,
okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to start letting everyone in, or?
I think just give me a minute to get my background.
I just sent you some backgrounds. Yeah.
Oh. Oh, they're nice. Yeah, and usually just a minute or two to let everybody come in.
Okay, I'm gonna get rid of mine.
There we go. Oh, how does that look? So yeah, I keep losing an arm in every. It's a bit disconcerting, really, isn't it? I wonder if I put it on as a green screen. Oh no, that doesn't work.
Oh no, no.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
That looks good.
All right, so we're a few minutes after. Do you want to start letting everybody in, Tanya?
Cool. Here we go. I'll put myself on mute now.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the latest in our series of our ACU Live webinars. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Liz Griffin. I'm the Associate Director for International Marketing and Recruitment. But for those of you who've been with us over the last few weeks, you probably already know that. But it's great to have so many of you with us this afternoon. And to hear really about a service which is integral to the success of our students here at ACU, which is about the Careers Advisory Service and our Student Jobs on Campus service. Just a couple of housekeeping tips for this afternoon. Please ensure you remain muted throughout the presentation. We are muting people on arrival in the waiting room, but we do absolutely welcome questions. So if you've got any questions for our presenters this afternoon, please, as always, add them into the chat box. And we'll get to those at the end of the presentation. This session is being recorded and will be circulated along with the PowerPoint slides. And similar to our previous weeks, we'll be launching a poll at the end of this session. This is really just to get your feedback and to also see if there's any other topics that you would like us to cover. So before I introduce our presenters for the day, I'd like to hand over to Louise Howie, who's normally based in our Melbourne campus, to lead us through an acknowledgement of country.
Thank you, Liz. It is our custom at ACU to give an acknowledgement of country. On behalf of all you gathered here today, I would like to commence this webinar by acknowledging the First Peoples, the traditional custodians of the countries where ACU campuses are located. We respectfully acknowledge each of these nations has faithfully cared for country for thousands of years. I would also like to respectfully acknowledge our elders, both past and present, and remember that they have passed on their wisdom to us in various ways. Let us hold this in trust as we work and serve our community.
Thanks, Louise. Okay, well, it's my very great delight to introduce our presenters for this afternoon. I'd like to first off introduce Carolyn Ryan, who works as a careers advisor in our Office of Student Success here at ACU. Her focus is on one-to-one careers advice, curriculum integrated careers programs, and online resource development. She is a graduate of ACU and hosts a Master of Education in Careers with a focus on assessing students and graduate attribute skill development from undertaking community-based experiences. She has a professional background in management consulting and HR solutions, learning and development and career development. And Carolyn previously completed a graduate diploma in education at Macquarie University and a Bachelor of Commerce Law at the University of Sydney. I'd also like to introduce Tamara Stacey, who is our National Coordinator for ACU Student Jobs on Campus. And Tamara supports students by helping to develop and enhance student employability skills and graduate attributes by providing them with paid employment opportunities across ACU's 6 campuses. Tamara also encourages and supports ACU staff by promoting student jobs on campus to assist them with their resourcing needs and support them through the advertising and recruitment process. Tamara is currently studying a graduate certificate in education in careers guidance at ACU and also has a Bachelor of Arts Psychology honours degree. Prior to joining us at ACU, Tamara's professional background includes recruitment and business psychology, comprising of HR and recruitment consulting, graduate assessment centred design, delivery and assessment, learning and organisational development, and career coaching. Tamara has worked with over 400 organisations to assist them with their recruitment and staff development needs. So I really can't welcome any warmer the expertise of our colleagues from our Careers Advisory Service, and happy to hand over to you now, Caroline.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that introduction, albeit a little bit long. We hope that we can live up to that great bio that you introduced us with. So thank you. And it's a pleasure for both Tamara and myself to be here today and to be able to work with you to present some information about the ACU Careers Service and what we can offer to international students once they are enrolled at ACU. So I'm going to start off just by doing a broad overview for you of the service. And I'm just going to flick through my to my second slide here, just to go through what we actually do for students. All students at ACU who are enrolled, including international students, can access our service for up to 2 years after graduation, which is fantastic for them in terms of keeping their networks of local employers and being able to reach out to those networks after they have finished at the university. And we also try our best to keep connected with our graduates and with current students as well. We have an online UniHub portal, which is the real central hub of how we communicate with our students. So we use some face-to-face appointments, and during the time of COVID-19, we have adapted quite substantially to working online, hence why the webinar today obviously is being presented to you in this fashion. And we find that students have adapted quite well to this. We use Microsoft Teams for our appointments and also engage with students by phone. Recently, the Careers Service introduced a new careers directory, which is called Prospel. It's an online resource for students that is a place for them to look for information on a whole range of national and international employers. And this is again something they have access to for some time after graduation. So we find that students and graduates are often online and are registering to attend all of the specialised workshops and events that we run for them. And we tailor these for both local and international students, and particularly for our international students around the nursing programs that we offer. We also have some teaching events, which I will talk to you about, as well as the broader business related activities. And at the moment, we also have some employability skills programs that are running as we speak. So I'll talk to you a little bit more about those as well. We find that mostly we engage with students in their penultimate and final years, and we do this through embedded curriculum. So we're working with them and the faculty, and they may come in from their first year of enrolment with us, and we build up that contact with them towards the end of their degree. So we really aim to offer specific careers support in their particular faculty area. And our main collaborations are with the International Office, so working with Liz and her team, and also with ACU alumni, so that we can actually stay in touch with those students once they've finished at ACU. So I've just thought I'd go through with you an example of the kind of opportunities we see international students gaining through the Careers Service. So this is our online portal, and here we have an international student role that was recently advertised, which is a research role for students looking at doing some education work, so getting some survey information from a range of international students. And you can see the variety of backgrounds there from China, India, Indonesia, Singapore, South Korea, Malaysia, Hong Kong. So these online research projects, it's engaging students in paid employment, and just an example of the kinds of things we're trying to get students exposed to once they're at ACU in terms of their skill development. More broadly, we'd say, and often is the question for potential students, is, well, what skills are employers actually looking for, and how do they build those through their university degree? So I just thought I'd give you a snapshot here from the Australian Association of Graduate Employers. And this is their yearly summary where they undertake research with the top 100 graduate employers in Australia, which covers also multinational companies. So having a look at this, you can see that they clearly identify communication skills as the most important skill that they're assessing in new graduates. So when they're recruiting, this is the top skill they're looking for in the graduates that they are looking to employ. And that's 88% have said that's very important, and then a further 12% have said that that is somewhat important. So communication skills, teamwork and interpersonal skills are ranked as the top 3 level of importance in employability skills by employers. So that's really useful to reflect on, because we often think it might be something more locally related or technically related, but we've seen year in and year out that communication skills tends to be at one of the top levels. So we're really encouraging our students to develop those skills whilst they're studying at ACU. And in order to do that, we try and expose them to as much opportunity to get into the Australian workplace as possible. And my colleague Tamara has got a fantastic program with the Student Jobs on Campus program. So I'm just going to pass over to her now to just give you some insights into that program. Thanks, Tamara.
Thank you. Thank you, Caroline. Nice to be with you today, everybody. And yes, I am the coordinator for Student Jobs on Campus at ACU. I'm pleased to inform you that in 2019, we had over 500 students employed in our Student Jobs on Campus program. We've seen a very healthy increase in the amount of students employed. In 2017, we had 18 international students employed. And in 2019, that's increased to 42 international students, which includes varied roles. We have many wide and varied roles, library shelvers, laboratory assistants, administration assistants, promotional assistants, student ambassadors, which is fantastic. Actually, the picture of the student that you see here, her name is Maria, and Maria was an international student and also our first Student Jobs on Campus administrator that we managed to employ, and she did an amazing job for us. She was such an amazing student. She actually studying at the university in a business degree, but then transferred to a Masters of Teaching degree. So she's a real ACU success story, and yeah, she was just a wonderful asset to Student Jobs on Campus. The thing about Student Jobs on Campus is that every position is vetted. So what I mean by that is if a staff member comes to me and asks me a question, I need somebody to help me with this, that, or the other. We make sure it goes through HR to ensure that the pay is commensurate to the level of responsibility. Also, students work in a supportive environment. Staff here at ACU understand that student studies come first. So staff work around student timetables, exams, and make sure that the work doesn't clash with any of that, because, you know, that wouldn't be a good thing. The students gain key professional skills in a safe environment, which they can take with them beyond ACU. Some encouraging news during COVID-19, Student Jobs on Campus emailed current hiring managers of Student Jobs on Campus just to gauge the status of the student positions during COVID-19. And we were really pleased to hear that they had indicated 89% of roles would be maintained in the longer term, either because they successfully transitioned online, or they remained on campus, or they were just temporarily suspended due to the restrictions and would be reviewed once they have been eased. So that was really positive. The other positive news that we have as well is that we are actually currently advertising for positions at the moment, and have been in May and June, which is really, really great for our students to see that those opportunities are still coming in. We also have a work preparation workshop that I can talk you through. And this workshop isn't just for Student Jobs on Campus positions. This is transferable to any type of role. So I'll take you through that. If you could just pass the next slide, Caroline, please. Thank you. So this is the Student Jobs on Campus Career Advantage program. And it's a national online 90-minute workshop that's available to all ACU students, and it really focuses on workplace professionalism and communication skills. What I like to think the program does, it gets the students to, I guess, take their student cap off and put that professional hat on, and get them to think professionally and how they can go in to a workplace and present, you know, professionally with with impact. It has actually been very popular with our international student cohort, which I'm really pleased to say, and 31% of attendees this year have been international students. So I'm really pleased to see that. You may have actually seen Student Jobs on Campus promoting the Career Advantage program on the International ACU Facebook page. We have been running the program over the years, but in particular this year, we decided to really spend a lot of focus around navigating that COVID-19 environment, and with a particular emphasis online. So what we can do to present professionally online, what are some things students can do to also get the most out of their classes while they're online. And the other pleasing piece of news that we have is that 100% of students who responded to the survey that we sent out said that the Career Advantage program would be useful to them in future employment. So we have had overwhelmingly positive feedback from students. As I mentioned, we do talk about that importance of professionalism in the workplace, some of the behaviours that we can do to help achieve that. We also provide professional resources and links, including some specifically to our international cohort. We also touch upon the importance of personal image and presentation, and even just being mindful of your presence in the workplace. So just that, you know, even the noises you make, or whether or not you're leaving your cup behind on the desk, you know, these are the things that seem to, that should sort of always be in the presence of mind, but sometimes we get distracted. So what I'm trying to do is get students to have that in the forefront of their mind, so they're mindful of their behaviour in the workplace. As I mentioned, the bulk of the program is on communication skills. And if we go back to Caroline's slide of the main competencies assessed by graduate recruiters, communication skills is number one. So that is where the bulk of the training is around. We talk about, you know, tone of voice, body language, non-verbal cues. And as I mentioned, we also talk about the tips for the online meetings and the online presence. And I would actually argue you have to work a little bit harder to show that you are interested, to show that you are listening and these are some of the tips I would say to the students as an example, by looking at the screen, at the camera, nodding occasionally, because you don't always have the benefit of saying yes because you may be on mute. So, and not slouching because no one's in the room. So if we talk about netiquette, it's basically what I say to students: you're probably in a room by yourself, and therefore you feel like you can probably let your guard down a little bit. And relax, and maybe just, you know, sit in a more of a slouching position, or scroll through your phone because no one is around you. So my advice to those students is, when you're in an online meeting or in your class, act as if those people are around you to assist you in your behaviour and how you're presenting yourself. So that's essentially our Career Advantage program, and you know, we're continuing to roll that out, and looking during the holidays as well. So looking forward to many students continuing to attend that. So now I'll pass back to Caroline, who's going to take you through some of the resources that we briefly mentioned. Thanks, Caroline.
Thanks, Tamara. It's very insightful to get that information. And as Tamara mentioned, so if students are interested in doing the Career Advantage program, they would come to this landing page and book into that program. We've got an example here of where they'd book. They can also make one-to-one appointments with us. And as I mentioned, these are run through Microsoft Teams or Zoom links, and they have access to our events. So our events can be anything from a law boot camp through to an online entrepreneurial U workshop, which is tailored by an ACU careers advisor. And they have the opportunity as well to get one-to-one careers advice that's online. So that is submitting resumes for review, and they're given feedback within 72 hours as to the quality of their resume and what they can do to improve on that. We find international students access that quite regularly, especially to adapt their resume or their skills to the Australian market. So that's one that they do utilise. I've talked a little bit about jobs that we advertise for students, and we have casual, part-time and graduate employment. And then we also have tailored resources on here. So students can go in and find, for instance, the Careers Guide for International Students with an array of information about skill assessment, job search, how to get support, and where the current jobs are that they're looking for. And then we have the Student Jobs on Campus tab, which Tamara has talked to you about already. So this is a really popular landing page and something that we've seen utilised more and more during COVID in terms of students accessing our service. And we found that it's been important for us also as a way of connecting with our students. Some of the programs that we advertise on there, I'll just take you through. So we have an employability skills building program, which is very much built around international students. So the interchange experience, which is offered between different universities, where an ACU team will compete with other university teams to develop employability skills through a immersion program. And this has been fantastic. We've received some really good quality feedback from students who have engaged in this as to what they developed as workplace skills. So communication, teamwork, ability to think innovatively and to drive for achieving results. So it's been a really popular program over the past couple of years. We also at ACU participate in Univative, which is an inter-university skills competition. Again, an immersion program where students are given an opportunity to work with teams of students from other university areas. So they join together and can widen their social networks and their career networks as well. And then Entrepreneurial U, which is an online program, which I'll give you some detail about in a moment. And the Ready Steady Teach program offered for our education students. We also have an ACU Work Rights Volunteer initiative, and this has been fantastic in its uptake by international students. It's run out of the Fair Work Australia Ombudsman's office, and students are given an opportunity to go and train in that program and then come back on campus and give advice to other students about workplace rights. So ensuring that they are provided with legal employment that meets employment conditions, so that all of their wages are at the correct level, their casual employment entitlements are also within the framework of the Australian regulations. So that's been a really popular program as well, and one that gives back, I think, to other students. And that's what a lot of the international students have found beneficial once they've gone through their degree, to go back on campus and educate others. And we also have a internship or opportunity for in pro bono work, where students can complete an internship at ACU as part of their degree, which has also been a good program. So I'm just going to take you through Entrepreneurial U. This is an ACU-owned program that was developed by a careers advisor. It currently runs as an online program as well as in lecture time. And students register, they go through each module and they start to develop skills which are not just for business students, they're specifically for all students, but nursing students, allied health students, education students, they've all said they've really benefited from getting into an entrepreneurial mindset for the current workplace environment. So they might learn about design thinking or team skills, how to be innovative. And this really stands them in good stead when they go into employment opportunities down the track. So that has been a very popular program with us and with our students. The Ready Steady Teach program is one that's run between the ACU Career Development Service and the School of Education. And we're going to offer this virtually. It's offered in about 2 weeks to students. We've never done so, but because of COVID-19, we feel this is the appropriate way to tackle this 2-day event. And students will come together and be able to meet a lot of local employers as well as overseas employers who may be able to offer them opportunities to have teaching and education positions overseas. So we have a number of workshops that we run. We talk to students about all sorts of issues to do with being a graduate teacher, and we have our alumni come back and talk to them. Some other industry partnerships we have built include CPA, which is the current body that registers accountants in Australia. So we have a really fantastic international relationship manager, Kim Huang, who we have dealt with for a number of years, who runs employment events for those students who are wanting to become chartered professional accountants. So that body is really important to us in terms of our relationships and how she works with our international students. And often our ambassadors will come from the international student cohort. And then these offices are spread internationally, so they can go back to other areas and, you know, connect with that network, their wider network. Chartered Accountants Australia, also a body that we work with to run employment events, and they celebrate diversity, and you know, last year did a lot around the International Accountants Day and looking at how they can assist graduates with future employment. You'll see here an image of a student, an international student who they interviewed in terms of talking about their study experiences in Australia and how valuable work placements have been for them. And then they run employment evenings. So this year, of course, due to COVID, this has been restricted, but last year it gives you a good indication of the number of students who attend this event and the value they get from this. So these are all our partners, and we work obviously with the international office as well to be able to provide these services to international students. So I just thought to wrap up before we have questions, I'd just perhaps give you a bit of an insight into where graduate recruitment is headed for 2021. So this is obviously a question for many people at the moment in terms of the impact of COVID on future graduate employment recruitment. So the AAGE, Australian Association of Graduate Employers, have interviewed a number of the top 100 employers, and we can see from the statistics that over 30% of them do not see a change in graduate employment for 2021, which is favourable. And if we look at all of the left-hand side of the graph, we've got a number of those who are planning an increase as well in their graduate recruitment. There are some who have felt that there will be a decrease in employment for a number of reasons, including COVID, but not as many as we've seen either to sustain or to move through to increase in those levels. And around 18% are still undecided, so probably looking at the market and making decisions around that. So it's interesting and probably favourable to see that is where our current graduate employment market is sitting. And I would say definitely with health, nursing and that particular area, there's still some strength there, particularly with COVID and the demand on needing health resources. So I think Australia is tracking quite well in regards to that in relation to experiences in other regions. So I'd just like to finish up by saying, you know, we really do both enjoy, and our wider team, which is a national team, enjoys supporting students into employment. And we're very used to working with international students, and we're also very committed to doing so in the future. So we do hope that this has been helpful for you today to get some insights to our service. And of course, if you do have any questions, I think Liz is going to moderate that before they do the short poll with everyone on the session today. I'll hand over to you, Liz. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Caroline, and thanks, Tamara. That was a really interesting session. And I think what's really interesting is the access that our graduates have to career support even after they've left the university. I guess just to kickstart the questions, and if anyone does have any questions, feel free to add them into the chat box, and we'll happily answer them. I guess just in terms of our graduates, once they have left the university and they do come back, what sort of services do they generally access?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Often they'll be coming back because they may potentially have tried for a number of interviews, and they may have submitted resumes and got through to interview stage, and they just have not secured a position as yet. So they're coming back to do some interview skills practice, to do some more one-on-one with a careers advisor to really upskill in that area. So we usually do see that most students have had some help with resume or application letters before they leave, but they may just be wanting to reconnect to talk through actual interview strategies. Or they may access our service to talk about how to network. So often, how are they going to go about networking, continuing the networks they have? So that's the other. Yes.
That's great. So I guess the message out to our education agents and for anyone who's thinking about coming to ACU is that support doesn't end. And certainly the support that we get through the Careers Advisory Service and different services such as our alumni service continue well after to graduation, which is wonderful. And we've got a question from Umesh. And Umesh is asking, are there any part-time jobs for international students? And I guess, Tamara, could you just expand a little bit in terms of the types of roles that we have through student jobs on campus?
Absolutely. So yes, indeed, we do have part-time roles in the Student Jobs on Campus initiative for international students, and some of these include IT assistants, library shelvers, Ask ACU assistants, administrative assistants. We also have on Career Hub jobs of local businesses or organisations specifically looking for students, and Caroline, I think, demonstrated a particular role where they were seeking out international students. So absolutely, there are jobs there, and Career Hub is a very good place for students to have a look, because the people who advertise on Career Hub are obviously looking for students or recent graduates.
That's great. Thank you, Tamara. And I guess where our campuses are located, I mean, I know, for example, if I look out of the window here in North Sydney, we've got Vodafone, we've got Cisco, we've got quite a big IT hub here in North Sydney, and then certainly in our Melbourne campus and Brisbane campuses, we're not too far away from a lot of the sectors that we offer programs in. So I know there's huge opportunities for engagement across those sectors for our students. And having had a few students through ACU International over the years, especially our international students, they're just so enthusiastic and they do a fantastic job. You know, they're very diligent in terms of the way that they approach employment, and I guess that's due to the preparation that they get before they go out into the workplace. Okay, we've got a question from Sabine. Is there any cost for the placement? So with students on campus, do we charge them a fee? You know, we don't take a percentage of their salary or anything like that?
No, international students get paid exactly the same as a domestic student. There is no charge, no money. In fact, with all the jobs that tend to be advertised here in Australia, just generally, you know, people say don't, you know, give away any bank details or anything like that. But definitely, there's no money or fees or anything associated to any student working in a Student Jobs on Campus position.
Right, and I think, as we've mentioned, Australia is actually quite highly regulated in terms of our employment law and the systems related to employment. So there's an assurance for students that when they undertake a role, you know, that there is a lot of structure behind making sure that they are treated well within the workplace.
Definitely. And they're actually employed in the Student Jobs on Campus role under the same provisions that we are employed through the university. So they're under an award provision, and they're paid according to the rate of the casual employment with the loading. So it's actually very favourable in terms of the compensation that they can receive for the roles that they're encouraged to apply for.
Fantastic, thank you. And a question from Naomi. How long do students work each time through the Jobs on Campus programme? So what sort of hours do they do? How long do the contracts tend to last for?
It really depends on the role and the hiring manager's requirements. So there are roles that are as little as 1 day, and there are roles that last for, you know, can take students all the way through, you know, their university degrees. They have ongoing contracts because they just do such an amazing job, and also the need and requirement is there. Yeah, so it could be 1 day of promotions, or it could be working at the Ask ACU Centre in their second year all the way up till they finish. They could be a student ambassador. And we would also, when I talk to hiring managers, we also, for domestic students and international students alike, obviously international students do have a working restriction, so we all, as far as their hours every fortnight, and staff are aware of that. But if a student's working full time, we don't encourage working any more than 20 hours a week anyway, because we want the student to succeed academically and professionally. So asking a student to work 35 hours a week if they're working full, we just wouldn't do it. I mean, I would never encourage that, because, you know, that would be setting the student up for failure. So it's about finding that balance and making sure that we don't overload the student. In fact, sometimes a hiring manager will come to me and say, look, I've got this role, I really need to fill it, but it's full time. And I say, well, potentially that could be something that a postgraduate student may be interested in, or have you considered job share? Where a student shares that role, and that can be a really good, and they think, oh, I didn't think of that. So the student does 17 and a half hours a week, and then they job share. So that's, we try and find solutions for every type of need.
And I guess that's it's really important, and I know this is mentioned at orientation and enrollment for students, to get that balance right. That there is obviously the need, and a lot of our students do work part-time, but there's also a need to make sure that you focus adequately on your studies, and building a social life and everything else that comes with the student experience.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a question from Umesh, and that question is, students' dependents, so spouses, can they apply for positions on campus? Now, I'm assuming that this is only for students who are enrolled at ACU.
Yeah.
Indeed, yes.
Okay.
Current students of ACU. That's not to say, though, we have had some great students working in these positions who have actually gone on and carved out a professional career at ACU post-graduation, but they're not employed under Student Jobs on Campus anymore, and they would apply for the role as anybody else. But we have had students work through starting as a Student Jobs on Campus, and now they're carving their own professional career at ACU at the moment, which is fantastic. But yes, no privileges for non-ACU students. It's just a current ACU students for the Student Jobs on Campus.
Yeah, but if students do come with a spouse, then there are obviously other recruitment avenues and agencies that they can use outside of the university.
Indeed.
Yeah. And I guess this is a really good question from Nurul. Is an internship part of this? So what is the difference between this and an internship that a student would study as part of their program or for credit?
Okay, I might take that one, Tamara, because you've done a great job of answering the Student Jobs on Campus one. So the internship experience is one that is embedded into a number of the degree programs. So with Student Jobs on Campus, that's a paid employment role where they're generally doing that to develop some skills, but also to obviously get some financial reward. It's not part of their degree. It's something that they go through a competitive process to try and get that employment opportunity at the university. So that's the focus for Student Jobs on Campus, whereas internships form part of the degree program. And under Fair Work Australia, internships are more heavily regulated because of the need to ensure that everyone is protected. And they define an internship as something that forms a necessary component of completing a degree requirement. So if the university has those opportunities, and we've got one that we run through our law faculty, then we provide that to students in doing their, for instance, their pro bono or community placement units, and they would partake in that, and that would then count directly as credit towards their qualification. So hopefully that helps to differentiate the two.
Yeah, the two are very separate and wouldn't necessarily cross paths either.
That's right.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
I just add that there are sometimes paid internships that are available. They're usually offered by the wider sector, and they will have a number of requirements about the kind of work that you can undertake and how that would relate to your degree program as well. So yeah, but generally internships are done for credit points for subjects.
Excellent. Thank you for that clarification. Okay, I think we don't have any other questions right now, but I just want to say a huge thank you for that really detailed view of the services that we offer for students. And obviously very relevant right now as students look to navigate a post-COVID world and to look to see what opportunities there are in the future. And I just want to say a very big thank you to Caroline and Tamara for joining us this afternoon. And yeah, thank you very much. All right.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I am going to launch the poll. So if everyone wouldn't mind just filling out the poll, and this really does just help us check how we're tracking with these sessions, if there's anything else you would like us to cover to make our time together more effective. There we go, that's underway now. So if you wouldn't mind filling that out before we depart. And I just wanted to say again a very big thank you to our presenters for this afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you all again next week. Thanks now, bye bye.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I think that's the end of our poll as well, so I'm just going to end that too. Perfect.